What's up, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Full Circle. I'm your host, as always, Harmon Jr. Please feel free to find me at Harmon Jr. on all your favorite social media, now including TikTok. It's actually quite boring. I don't do anything fancy. Honestly, I feel old because it's like, ooh, autoplay 15-second videos nonstop forever. I don't know what's trending. I don't know who's hot. It's too much media at once. We've reached that point in the future where it's just like media content, media content. I don't understand how the 15-year-olds do it, but whatever. I'm old now. I'll go cry in a corner. But anyway, here it is, another new show this week. And joining me this week, we have Ben Hanson, aka Hanson, aka what?
AKA Ben, AKA Merrill, AKA Merrill Hanson, AKA Benjamin Merrill Hanson.
Oh
Hello.
man, there you go.
Thank
How are
you
you today, sir?
Oh, really, really well. Thanks for having me on the Full Circle podcast.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to critique you out of the gate, Adele.
Okay.
But if you had to start a podcast, starting it with plugs of social media not to check out is probably not the strongest intro.
It's not, but for the longest time, people was always like, get a TikTok. And now I have, and now I need to let those people know I'm not enjoying myself.
That'll get them. Yeah, let them know that I've wasted my time for you.
Yes, they need to know. But Ben, in case people don't know who you are and what do you do? Shame on them if they don't.
Shame on them. That's totally understandable. My name is Ben Hanson. I am from Minnesota. And I started at Game Informer magazine as the video producer, the first full-time video person there back in 2010. And I was there for many years and had a great time, went on a ton of cover story trips in particular. Because I was the video person, I'd be sent out to do interviews with the devs for the cover stories. So I think I went on over 80 cover story trips, visiting studios around the world, which was great. I eventually started hosting the Game Informer Show podcast. Tim Turry was my co-host at the time. Then, jump forward a little bit. In 2019, I decided to leave Game Informer, and then I started a new outlet, Patreon-supported, called MinnMax, MinnMax. And it's about games, friends, and getting better. And we started up the MinnMax Show podcast. We started doing the Deepest Dives, which is our huge community game club discussions, where we take huge games and break them up into multiple chunks, and talk about each in a very in-depth way with the community, and a bunch of other stuff. So we've been building out the crew here. We have Kyle Hilliard, Serial Vasquez, Jeff Marchiafava, Leo Vader joined us this year, and Ana Diaz, a new friend, joined MinnMax as well. So it's been fun slowly adding new voices, including, I should mention, Matt Helgeson, former host of the Game Informer Show as well. He does a music podcast for MinnMax called Crossfade.
What? Actually, I did not know that. That is news to me.
Oh, really?
Shout out to Helgeson.
Yeah, his voice is so good. You can't keep him away for a podcast.
Yeah. Wasn't he in the radio at one point?
He was a guest a lot on K-Fan, which is the sports radio thing here in Minneapolis. But I don't know if he had more involvement beyond that. But it's so nice to hear him not only be on a podcast again, but also just be able to unload all of his thoughts on a completely new medium. I've never really heard him talk about music in this in-depth of a way. And every episode of Crossfade blows my mind how much that guy knows. He has 1,000 reference points. He knows, I don't know if he'd say this, he has been in the video game industry since, 99, I believe. And listening to that Crossfade podcast, it's he knows 3 times, 4 times as much about music as he does video games. He is just an endless well of knowledge. So it's awesome to listen to.
Shout out to Helgeson. People like that always intimidate me. It's I work hard for my dream. And it's no, I don't. Not at all. I don't know what I'm doing in life.
I mean, he just listens to a lot of music. It's work, but we gotta get real here.
Well, unfortunately, we will not be talking about the sweet sounds of music this week. Maybe next week. We might have an arbitrary. Wait, we already did the best soundtrack. So nope, never mind. No more music for the rest of the year, guys. I'm sorry. Just video game stuff. But this week, we'll be talking about Cyberpunk 2077. We have talked about this game ad nauseum this year for a validity of reasons. And I mean, it's finally coming out. So yippee. And right at the gate, people, as listeners, we got one day, but review scores are live and the community is torn to pieces over a game they haven't played. But we're going to dive more into that about review scores, games, and expectations later. before that, we'll be talking about the Metal Gear Cinematic Universe. I don't know if anyone's calling that. I just coined that phrase.
I'm sure they've
Konami,
talked about it
pay
internally.
me my money. They have cast their Solid Snake. It has happened. The movie's happening. And, the Uncharted movie's also happening. It's interesting to have video game movies actually happening. That
Yeah.
I must admit. But before all that, PAX had a huge announcement a few days ago that in-person PAX is returning. Yes, you heard that correctly. The last PAX was PAX East of 2019. Then COVID happened. If you don't know what that is, I don't know what to tell you. You have been living in a magical place, my friend. But yeah, PAX has announced that as of now, it's tentative. It may change. Who knows anymore? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But 2021, we will have PAX East, PAX West, PAX Australia, PAX Unplugged, and no PAX South because it's usually in January and that's too soon. And I need to start off the show by saying this. I live in Houston. I've been to every PAX South. It's usually in San Antonio. It's a great time. But I've always said this show has never gotten enough support, and it's only a few years before it's no longer a thing. Now, thanks to COVID, this is the first step to that happening. There will be no PAX South. I know everyone in the southern region of the United States, everyone who enjoyed coming to that show, they said this, unfortunately, will not, that we're bringing it back in 2022. But I don't know. I mean, Hanson, I'm pretty sure you've never been to a PAX South because
No, I haven't.
most outlets don't go.
Yeah, I wanted to check it out. I would love to go to more PAXs. I can't imagine going in 2021. That's very ambitious of them, and there's no way this is going to happen, right?
Well, okay, so the dates have been changed. The first PAX will be PAX East, and the tentative date is June 3rd to the June 6th.
No way. No freaking way. They're out of their minds.
You're not even going to entertain the idea that...
I'm not even going to entertain it. No, I mean, you think about best estimates right now are, I'd say the gamer tier on the vaccination checklist, it's going to be May if we're lucky. And so I just cannot imagine that quick of a turnaround where people can prepare because, we're probably going to be stuck in limbo and not know for sure who's going to get vaccinated when for a while. So the idea of being able to plan this out, I mean, this isn't a thing where everybody says, okay, I'm vaccinated and now 2 weeks to go, now I can go set up a booth. I mean, you need to really get a roadmap in front of you. So I don't think that's reasonable.
Oh, well, I got some more surprising news for you. With my science background from college, apparently for a vaccination to be fully effective, 80% of said population need to take it. And here in America, at least 80% of people agreeing to take it. I think, I'll be amazed if we got 50% here. But who knows? Yeah. Stranger things have happened, I guess. So continuing down this train, if everything goes well, just giving them the benefit of the doubt, we will have a PAX West, September 3rd to September 6th, which honestly is around the time it normally is.
Yeah. Okay. I'm saying that's a 60% chance of happening.
All right. PAX Australia coming soon, and PAX Unplugged, we're looking at December 10th through December 12th. How you feeling about that one?
I mean, sure. Let's lock it in. Here's hoping. But even like GDC, what they rescheduled to July 19th for 2021, and that's another one of just like, God, I know you thought you were reaching into the future and it was an impossibly late date, but even that, I feel like they should have scheduled GDC for just make it November and play it safe. I understand that a lot of game developers are crunching around then, but maybe there's some safer window. But it's got to be a tough spot for all these folks to try and lock down that new schedule. And I just wish that they were a little more conservative with their scheduling, so they don't have to change the date again and again and again.
Yeah, it's funny. If you read the wording, I'll just read a little excerpt here. It says, we are also working with our team in Australia and the Australian government, and we'll have more updates to PAX Australia 2021 show date for the next few weeks. And I just think that's interesting that, they go into more detail that, what the Australian government's code is. But I was like, I wonder, was there even an approval with the American government where they're just like, hey, and they're just like, nah, just pick some dates. You're good.
Who knows? Who knows, man?
And I just really, 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 really don't understand this decision because per them, PAX Unplugged was wildly successful. I mean, not PAX, excuse me, PAX Online.
Mm.
You know,
Oh, it
PAX
does.
Unplugged also works as a good name since we're not there in person. But PAX Online, I know it set some stream records, all that good stuff for PAX.
Oh, cool.
A lot of panel interaction. I was on 2 panels myself that year, and I was surprised just with the interface of being on the panel, watching people talk and chat, interact, and ask questions. I was expecting maybe a handful of people, honestly. You know, we were just like, a 1 p.m. Saturday panel, and we had probably about 100 concurrent viewers and about 20 odd people asking questions. And I was like, oh man, this is cool.
Yeah.
I didn't think the community would show up in that number, especially being the first time they done it. So I expected more of that. But per the PAX people, they said that we missed, they crave togetherness. The magic of PAX is something that must be experienced in person, get communities together, etc., etc.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that so many people showed up. I mean, I love conventions and the idea of tuning into a digital convention, I just can't do it. And so I'm glad that there were folks watching.
And so my thing is, do you think we're going to get a similar response from? Well, we already know GDC is not going to be in person, but you think
Yeah.
E3? People have been talking about the death of E3, quote unquote, for a while now. Do you think E3,
Right.
in fear of that, might try to jump on this bandwagon and be like, yeah, we're going to try to come back too in person and do the
God.
thing?
I mean, they haven't said anything, have they?
Not that I know of. As of recording, I have not heard a word from them.
Man, I
Not a
could
peep.
imagine them, maybe going for August or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. I hope that they delay it. I hope they don't think that they can get normal E3 up and running in June.
Oh no, I've kind of fully accepted at this point. I'm not gonna lie, maybe earlier this year, I was kind of in the camp of we'll be fine by summer, and then okay,
Yep.
we'll be fine by next summer. And now I'm full in the camp. I'm just gonna assume nothing's open until 2022. As
Yeah.
much as that pains me to say.
No, I heard you on last week's podcast talking about, Super Nintendo World and how it's like, maybe we'll have something in 2022, 2023. Congratulations on getting Andy Mack on the podcast, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Was it a tough sell? How much did you have to pay?
I offered him cheese.
Wow. Smart.
Fortunately, it wasn't a tough sell. As you heard, he made me feel bad about wanting to ride the roller coaster, and then he put reality in my way, and I was like, man, life
Look,
sucks.
there should be no shame in wanting to ride a roller coaster. We're all going to be building roller coasters in our houses by the end of this quarantine.
Yeah, and so the funny thing I thought about this was the response. As always, the gamer community always has something to say, and surprisingly, granted, I don't know if these were PAX goers to begin with because I don't know, but the surprising response was, "I love PAX, but I will not be attending, even if it's a go."
Yeah.
And I just wonder, as a community manager, whoever watches this, I wonder would they look at that and be like, maybe it isn't worth spending the money if our, what I assume to be our audience isn't even interested in going.
Yeah. I wonder. I mean, does PAX normally sell out? I would love to know what the numbers are like
Okay,
for next year.
I do know this because I've been every year since 2014. PAX South doesn't really sell out because
Okay.
it's still a smaller show, but
Yeah.
East and West routinely sell out.
Hmm.
And I know this because I've participated in the PAX Pokemon Leagues, and there's been cases where people who were in the Pokemon League didn't secure a badge quick enough, and then there's like a forum for like trying to get them resell badges and make sure they get into the show.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the scalpers there are ridiculous. I may have sold, a 3-day pass to them that I didn't have a need for because I was already leaving. But yeah. So routinely they the Saturdays usually sell, like the Friday, Saturday sell out. Usually, you can easily find a Sunday ticket or Monday ticket depending on how the days fall. So I would say, they make money. I've seen people in Boston wait in at least an hour-long line in the snow to get in PAX. And I looked at them like, there's just no way. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see, even if it's feasible, how many people would even want to be in that large crowd. There's going to be a weird kind of reflex where I think a lot of people are going to be weirded out by it for a while.
All right, so I have a philosophical question for you. What will
Yes.
the game industry look like next year if we have literally zero in-person events? Clearly, it'll survive, but do you think, the way, how reveals and things work, that the community be receptive to just literally everything is just a Nintendo Direct, PlayStation showcase and Xbox? I don't
Yes.
know if they have a clever name for their thing, but
People will absolutely get used to it. I know it's not ideal. I love a good stage presentation. I love a good convention. I love a big announcement. I love a big, glitz and glamour and everything. Uh, Companies can get away with a tweet announcing a new big game. There's no reason not to. They're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars at least. So much hassle. They're taking up developer time by having to make demos or fly them out to these conventions. And you say, yeah, will they tolerate it? Will gamers tolerate it? What are our other options? We can't say, that's it. Now we're not buying this game because it wasn't revealed the way we wanted. Like, even if you could rally that group, you could maybe put a sliver of a percentage of a dent in the total sales of the game. There's just no way to make your voice heard to express that, hey, we like conventions and we like big reveals on stage. It's not feasible anymore.
it's not. So I have an interesting. So put on your tin hat. We're gonna be tin hatters right now.
Oh boy.
So me and my friend were talking, and we were like, Nintendo marching to their beat of their own drum. Someone is a fortune teller at Nintendo. They see stuff. They made the Switch pre-COVID. That because of COVID sold like super hotcakes. They left E3 way before anyone could get suspicious. They started doing Nintendo Directs, made online presentation a norm. And then COVID came, and then they were just fully prepared for it. From console wise to game releases of Animal Crossing to no presentations.
Right.
How much do you think they know?
I'm thinking about this. That might be the dumbest theory I've ever heard in my life. It's truly horrific on every level.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was talking about, I was like, man, Nintendo was already like COVID prepared. They were like, we already do this. We don't go to cons no more.
You know what's weird? Think about how long it's been since we've seen Miyamoto. We have not gone this far and this long without seeing our main man Miyamoto. I mean, since childhood. It's crazy. He hasn't been in a video. He hasn't been in anything for a year, over a year.
Well over a year, I'm sure.
It's crazy.
Man. Now, okay, see. This is how far the rabbit hole goes. Where's Miyamoto? Where?
Work on the vaccine.
Let me back out here. Where's Nintendo? Where's Nintendo been?
Okay, here's the roadmap that I think Nintendo's going for. I think there is that Switch Pro coming next year.
All right.
There's no hot inside scoop or anything here. This is just logical piecing stuff together from the internet. And I think they had their big debut of the Switch with like the first hands-on in January. They had a big event in January. Obviously, that event won't happen now, but I could see them having a big digital event or at least another Nintendo Direct in January to fully unveil Breath of the Wild 2 and everything else good coming with, the new Switch.
I really want that to happen. We never got HD Wii, so I'm really gonna need 4K Switch.
You know what? Now I'm kicking myself. It was tough to come up with a name for an outlet, and we ended up with MinnMax, which I feel pretty good about. But calling our Patreon HD Wii really would have been cool.
Oh, man, HD Wii, nice. I remember the rumored HD Wii was like that red mini Wii, and then it turns out like it was like the Canadian Wii or something like that, and I was like, what?
Ooh, yeah.
Why?
You're right. Canadian HD Wii is even a better name.
Canadian HD Wii. I really hope we get Switch Pro, Super Switch Lite, Light Switch, whatever kooky Switch based name we can come up with. But no, I really hope so, because they have been awkwardly quiet for like not all of 2020, but it was kind of like Animal Crossing breaking records, and then it was just like, trailer of Breath of the Wild 2, and then Smash, disappointing Smash character reveals. And
I really, you could sum up their 2020 with Animal Crossing and mic drop And most people use it as like a figurative mic drop. I think they literally just dropped the mic because they had nothing else to say the rest of the year. And it didn't matter. They're still going to make a gazillion dollars.
Oh no, completely. Like I literally had someone tell me that was like, "Oh man, I can't find a Switch for my nephew," and it boggles my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm not saying the Switch isn't amazing. I love the Switch. I have a Switch Lite and a Switch. I don't even use my Switch Lite. I just have it. I've accepted that was a frivolous purchase, and I just gotta live with it now. But whatever. But in 2020, if you have not already acquired a Switch by December, were you even ever intending on playing a Switch? I just kind of feel like, why are they still selling out? Who does not have a Switch by this point? It just feels like a weird thing to me to still be trying to get.
Jeff Markiafava just got a Switch.
Swear.
Yep, he did.
What was he doing beforehand?
He's just a content guy. He's like, I'll get to it eventually, whatever. We had to buy it for him because he had a kid. It was the big gift for his kid being born. Now he can not pay attention to it.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. I guess there's Favias in the world.
Yeah, they won't stop. They're multiplying like crazy.
Oh man, yeah. Well, we will see ultimately. I wish PAX the best. Honestly, if they are open, I'm not going to be going either. I'm just going to save my money, save myself a trip.
Yeah.
Fun fact before we leave this topic. So I went to PAX East, obviously I said that before. And it was in Boston. This is right when, things were starting to get a little rocky. It went from like quiet whispers, it's not the big of a deal, to, New York was shutting down around this time. Boston started to have little cases. And I remember in the convention center, you had like at every escalator, you had like a janitorial person with wipies, and they were literally just standing there the entire convention, on the little handrail with the little wipe on top and bottom. And you had other people constantly sanitizing the doors. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This seems like something that you should probably do normally. These rails are probably, dirty. And I just remember that. And I remember even at the airport, you saw people with like, mask on and like the, they're not ventilators, but the masks with the little tubes and stuff, that sucks the air in and out and all that stuff.
Yeah, Psychomantis stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Psychomantis stuff. And I remember thinking foolishly, I was like, oh, these are precautions. It's not gonna get that bad. And I didn't say that from a point of foolishness. Like it was more like a hopeful wish. Like it's like the zombie apocalypse. You see like people going into the ICU and you hear little whispers, and you're like, they got this under control. And then 3 weeks later, chaos.
Yeah, chaos.
But in some good news, the Metal Gear Solid movie.
Yes, sir.
Yes, in an exclusive by Deadline, they reported that Oscar Isaac, everybody's favorite X-wing fighter, TIE fighter, the rebel fighter. I don't watch Star Wars. I'm sorry, people. You can hate me now.
Technically, he flew an X-wing or a TIE fighter once. Yeah.
He is going to be Solid Snake. And some people loved it, some people hated it. I was like, the real big story here is that the Metal Gear Solid movie is officially happening.
Well, we aren't there yet. We are. Everybody's been screaming for so many years. It's been a lifetime of people screaming for this Metal Gear Solid movie. I remember, what was it, like 4 years ago, when the director, Jordan Vogt Roberts, was like talking all about the Metal Gear Solid movie. Every outlet was writing a story a day. And it was just this weird thing of like, why is everybody calling him the director of this movie that has not been greenlit? He's just like proclaiming himself this director because he's attached to this project in the works. And I remember screaming back then, like, this movie might not happen, everybody. And it was like, oh, you idiot, you idiot. Now it's 3 years later, still hasn't happened. Yes, this is a big development, but until you remember the Uncharted movie? That's what's closer than Metal Gear Solid all these times. So until like that sucker is out the door, I am still skeptical that this movie's happening. But the director, personally, there's a couple things that not so great about that guy. But I will say I like Kong Skull Island. Like, it is a huge guilty pleasure movie of mine. I really enjoyed that silly movie. So I'm excited. Oscar Isaac. Who doesn't love Oscar Isaac? Like, he's one of the most beloved actors right now, right?
Yeah. We'll get to if this is happening or not. I'll put a pin in that. But what I thought was really interesting, at least for me, I didn't know that there was like an extreme zeitgeist on who should play Solid Snake. because like I was cool, but then I found out people were like, "What?" Like apparently Chris Evans as Solid Snake was like a really big want from the internet, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not over Chris Evans in a bad way, but I'm just like he has his he's he just left Captain America. He was in Knives Out. He's doing his thing. I don't think he's really ready to jump into a fictional long term. I don't know how many movies they plan on making.
Yeah,
role.
Agree with them, I guess, but I think the problem is Chris Evans isn't cool. And Solid Snake is cool. That's like his defining characteristic. No offense to Chris Evans, if I know he's a big fan. He's probably on next week's episode, but Oscar Isaac is a cool dude, and that's what you want from Solid Snake. The part I can't get over is no one talks about it, but like if you're casting Solid Snake, you're also casting Liquid Snake. Yes, this is a 2-in-1 package.
Oh, I mean, they're fraternal twins. They're not identical.
Is that true?
Yeah, no.
They're identical.
No, Liquid has blonde hair and sounds British.
Hang on, I don't know enough about twins. Okay, first of all, the accent is a stupid. That's not accurate.
Wait, okay, like Solid and Liquid. Okay, first of all, none of them are identical, but Solid and Liquid do not look alike. You could do a quick Google.
Yeah. No, I bet they have the same model on the PS1, except obviously with a hair difference. But hang on, can identical twins have different hair colors, or is that
they're fraternal? Point? They're not identical. I mean, their other twin is an old man.
But I swear, let's look at this. The PS1 model. I think they're the same.
Wait, hold on. We're about to do this together.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Googling it and it says I'm right.
What?
I'm honest. That's everybody Googling everything. They have to, right? I always just imagined that it was the same face.
I mean, that.
Ooh, I guess, okay, let's go twin snakes. That's probably a better representation of it, right?
Yes.
Okay, Liquid Snake face.
For those at home, Google with us.
Yeah,
the
please.
Fun at Home Full Circle podcast game.
Twin Snakes face. I mean, basically. I mean, it's tough to tell with the stupid headband and the hair, but that's pretty damn close.
I mean, they don't have to be identical. I mean, you just put a guy in a blonde wig, here's
the point. If you make a Hollywood movie, we all know how stupid Hollywood is. We all know how stupid the audience is.
All right.
If they say, "Oh, it's your twin, it's your clone twin," and it's not the same actor, the audience will be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Okay. If Liquid Snake is Chris Evans, the audience will say, "Boo, they're not twins. This is ridiculous."
I'm going to start the hashtag Chris Evans for Liquid Snake.
I say you just Cam Clark.
All right. If you since it's how you could just say brothers. You don't have to let the people know they're twins. If you're a real Metal Gear fan, you know they're twins, and if you're not, then you just need to know they're brothers.
It seems very important to the plot that they're twins.
All right, riddle me this then. So you go to part 2, and now you have Solidus, which is an old man, and they're gonna be like, but they're triplets. Why is one an old man and not an identical twin?
What is the deal with Solidus? So did he age faster?
So they were bioengineered to be ultimate weapons, but people feared they would get too strong, so they put like in some weird age you faster gene. That's why.
I mean, that's Metal Gear Solid 4 lore, though.
But that's what happened to Solidus. It happened to him sooner. Like what happened to Solid Snake was the same thing that happened to Solidus. He got super old faster than he was supposed to.
Is that right? Is that lore?
That is lore. That is overarching lore.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying within 2, I forget how they explain how Solidus is so old.
Nanomachines. That's ultimately how they fix any plot hole in Metal Gear Solid. They go nanomachines. Why are you alive? Nanomachines. Why are you dead? Nanomachines.
Every confusing part of the Metal Gear Solid movie, they'll just cut to black. It'll just be like an inner title. It'll just say nanomachines, and then just move on. And no critic can criticize anything.
Yeah, all you gotta do is say Fox die, lale low.
Yep. There it is. You got the basics.
All right, fine. So, but hey, we've done it. We've done it before. We've had Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap, and we had the Olsen twins, who I thought was just one person, but are actually 2 peoples.
Right. Very confusing.
It did.
I think it'd be fun. Have him play with himself.
Yes. Well, but you're right, because if they do a Metal Gear Solid 3, it has to be Oscar Isaac as the OG Naked Snake, their father, which looks
Right.
exactly like Solid, but not the other two because reasons. And then
He looks like Liquid. They all look
no,
the
they
same.
do not. You know what? I need to do a poll at this show and be like, do Solid and Liquid look alike? And we're gonna tear the internet apart.
Are you high? Yes,
they do not look alike. They see, God.
Even Solid is just like a slightly older version, but he's still pretty close to looking like him.
Okay.
This is how stupid I am, Adele. I was trying to Google this, and I just Googled the words "every snake," thinking that would bring up the answers that I want.
Oh man. This is I mean, why not have him playing Raiden too? Why not? He's every male character. He's Otacon, he's Snake, he's Raiden.
That's exactly my argument. Yep, he's the end, he's Fat Man, everybody in Metal Gear looks the same.
What if they did that? Like, and they wrote some stupid new plot line in. He's everyone in the world.
Everyone is a big boss clone. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. And then his face is on Metal Gear Rex and Ray. It's just a giant weird face.
Oh my goodness. So now that we got that out of the way, what are the chances of this movie actually happening? Because Uncharted is happening. We have pictures of Tom Holland, Tim Holland,
Tom. Yep.
Tom,
I need set pictures. That's what I need. I'd say chances of this happening are still, I'd put it at the odds of PAX happening. In August. Which one was that? PAX West?
It was PAX East would be the first, happening in June.
Okay, yeah, not that one. The one after that. It's the same odds of that happening.
Okay. Oh yeah, PAX West is September 3rd. PAX West is approximately, because I was around Labor Day, right? Or Memorial Day. I always forget which one is which.
Memorial is in May.
Okay, then Labor. That's all that happens around Labor Day, which is September 1st, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. We've
Look,
existed.
the point is, I put it at like 50 to 60% chance that this Metal Gear Solid movie is hitting streaming services / theaters.
I mean, everything is hitting streaming services. I mean, RP movie theaters. I hope y'all don't go under, but it's gonna be a dicey 2021 for y'all. I won't lie.
Yep, that's a tough one.
But I don't know. Granted, this has happened before. They're gonna make a big announcement, get all this buzz, get people hyped, and then the movie falls through. But I don't know. I feel like Oscar Isaac is so hot right now that if they would have said someone like, oh, a kind of good choice, but hasn't been in a movie in a while, I'd have been like, eh. But Oscar Isaac, in my mind, was a big enough star, super hot. He's said his endorsement of how he always wanted to play Solid Snake. He seems to like the series, go him.
Yeah.
So, but here's my biggest issue with this movie. Let's say it does happen, it does come to fruition. Who is pinning the story, and how much are we taking from the source material? Because Uncharted, I'm not worried. They just need to tell you, hey, Tom, you're a treasure hunter. You're going to El Diablo. You're going to find some doubloons, and then stuff blows up. He runs, looks pretty, and that's all they really need to happen.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Metal Gear movie, on the other hand, I'm just like, I mean, the games are pretty much a movie. And if you're going to deviate from the games, is Kojima going to be part of this? Because I feel like he needs to be. It
seemed like they have the connection. Jordan Vogt-Roberts has visited Kojima and all that stuff, but who knows what Konami would allow there. But it's a fun idea. I mean, in interviews, Jordan Vogt-Roberts has talked about it, and I remember at some point he referenced Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of like the audience will accept some pretty crazy stuff if you present it in the right way. So that had me a little scared. And then he also, I believe, was implying time travel. Like the interviews that he has given about his structure for the movie is very like, oh boy, you're biting off too much, buddy. It sounds like he's trying to rope in some Metal Gear Solid 3 stuff in there. So I'm a little worried about what he's going for. Because honestly, if you make the film version of Metal Gear Solid, I love Metal Gear Solid, but it's just going to feel like an 80s action movie, which is what Metal Gear Solid is basically going for. It's going to feel like a weird stripped down version of Running Man, which I don't think you want. You want something a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, you make a great point, since it's based off an 80s action movie. Was it Escape from New York is the inspiration. So yeah, we already have, I guess, the 80s action movie of Metal Gear Solid. It exists.
Yes.
So, but I feel just because of how it has the strong technology history vibes that it'll be easy to make a modern take on Metal Gear, especially when it always strives from real life events and then conspiracy theories pretty much, and we do not lack any of those in 2020.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know how much I want to rope in, but yeah, I'm very curious to see how he pulls it off. I want to read that script so much.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. I want to say that it could be good. It probably won't. I mean, we'll see it either way. But I don't know. What's worse, it never happening or it happening and being just a complete dumpster fire?
Dumpster fire is worse.
Dumpster
Well,
fire.
you know what? Yeah, I shouldn't be too precious about it. Let it all go. Let's see what it is. It's not going to destroy the games. Have at it.
Yeah, it's true. We're never. It's sad to say we're probably never getting another true Metal Gear Solid game. So I mean, hey,
yeah,
this is as close as I'm going to get to new Metal Gear media. And I gave Death Stranding a chance, and I didn't like it. I don't know if I'm not sophisticated gamer enough, but I don't know what the hell that was.
I don't know what that was. Yeah, I've been meaning to go back to it for over a year now. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I made it to what I assumed to be the first boss. I'm not even sure, and I was just like, social commentary is great and all, and I appreciate that stuff, and I love social commentary in games. Not when I have to walk the literal video game equivalent of Across the Country.
Yep,
Just
totally get it.
But speaking of gamers complaining, if you didn't know, Hanson, Cyberpunk 2077 reviews are out in the wild today.
Woo! Positivity. Here we go.
Yeah. And believe it or not, most of the reviews are positive.
Yeah. 9s out of 10s seems to be the predominant theme here.
Yeah. We have places that don't score the game. They wrote positive things. But GameSpot gave it a 7 out of 10, and PC Gamer gave it a 78 out of 100, which, I mean, that's basically an 8 out of 10. It's not mathematically, but it's a 7.8 out of 10, which is an 8 out of 10 as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
And so GameSpot got some heavy backlash. And
just relax, everybody. It's one person's opinion of the game. It's fine. GameSpot is not a giant entity that is computing the accuracy and the numbers of these games and the correct score and spitting it out. It's one person reviewing it. Like, I saw some people being like, "Oh, they said it was buggy, and then they gave it a 7, but they gave Fallout 4 a 9." It's like, they're different reviewers. You experience every game differently. Like, you were just talking about Death Stranding. That's all a review is, everybody. It's not science. It's somebody sitting in a room and playing it for a while and saying, "I liked it." Like, that's it. That's all we're dealing with here.
And I just want to talk about. So I said a couple of shows back that this game had zero room for error. It needed to be a knockout of the park. I was saying like a 12 out of 10, 10 out of 10. It needed to be like one of the greatest games I ever experienced, and not because my expectations were it has to be, but after so much, I don't want to say turmoil. That's probably not the correct word, but a exciting release schedule for the game. Ups and downs. That like expectations were just gonna go through the roof. Just even unintentionally, it's just like, man, when this game releases, it's not a great game that's never gonna see the light of day like Beyond Good and Evil 2. We knew this game was definitely gonna come out eventually.
Yep.
Unlike Beyond Good and Evil 2, yes, I will bring that up every show, at least once a show until that game is released. But I just think it's weird how people's expectations based off of trailers we've entered this weird, because I'll draw a comparison. Think of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Yep. The zeitgeist was, we must hate this game. And then reviewers didn't.
Yeah.
Now we don't like the reviewers. And now the zeitgeist is, the world must love this game. And reviewers didn't even hate it. It was just like, it was cool. And they were like, what cool? excuse me, Cyberpunk 2077, Keanu Reeves, CD Projekt Red, creators
Oscar
of The
Isaac.
Witcher.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Yeah, the key word there is zeitgeist. Turns out there are millions and millions and millions of people screaming about a million different things on Twitter, and you can bend it any way you want to be like, oh, the zeitgeist for Pokemon, zeitgeist for Cyberpunk. Somehow people like to lump these together like it's the same audience. You know, it's like it's just a handful, well, a large handful of people screaming, and you can carve that any way you want to make it seem as paradoxical and what's the word I'm looking for? Hypocritical? What's the one? Is that a word?
Yeah, hypocritical is a word.
Why am I blanking on that? Hypocritical as possible.
I don't know. It's because I feel odd because you know, we're journalists and we're also just consumers of media. And I feel like even if I didn't have like a journalistic background, I will still just be a reasonable human being in the sense that, okay, logically, how can I get upset over someone's opinion of something I've yet to experience?
Right.
That I have no part in.
You're absolutely right. It's absurd. That said, I know it so well because I was literally that fan that was reading GameSpot growing up and sending letters to the reviewers angry. Like I wrote Greg Kasavin an angry email.
Oh my.
Because he gave Final Fantasy 12 a 9 out of 10.
Oh,
and I was
9? You were mad over a 9?
Yeah, I was freaking furious. And I hadn't even played the game yet. Like, it wasn't even out. And I saw that review, and I was like, that can't be right. And so I wrote him a stupid letter. And I later got to apologize in person to him about it, which was refreshing. But I get the idea, but I wish people weren't crappy online. You know, obviously, I wish people weren't attacking reviewers for just playing a game and reviewing it. But at the same time, I think we gotta stop focusing on them so much. You know, our brains are not meant to focus on everybody screaming about something online. And so the fact that we have to talk about these shitty guys online, it's like it's fine. Just let it go. Don't send death threats. Let's not acknowledge them.
You know, this is very true. So now that we got the pink elephant, white elephant, blue elephant, the elephant in the room. What color is the elephant supposed to be? I never remember.
Well, you're confusing several things. You're thinking of a white elephant gift exchange.
Oh yeah, that's for Christmas.
Yeah.
Is it the pink elephant in the room?
Well, pink elephants from Dumbo. Pink elephants on parade. Here they come. Bibbidi bobbidi. They're here. They're there. You know the tune. Right. So yeah, I don't think the elephant in the room has a color. Probably gray.
All right. The elephant in the room does not see color, people. There you go. We have all learned to be better from the elephant in the room.
Yeah, I wish the elephant in the room would have reviewed Cyberpunk for GameSpot. Hack. I don't know who reviewed it. I'm sure they're cool.
So one of the interesting things I found just going through the reviews and stuff, people keep screaming, I don't want to be spoiled. And I'm just like, I don't know if I could be spoiled for a giant open world game.
Right.
I don't know how spoilers work for that. Unless you tell me you as the main character die, I mean, the game's like gonna be, a kabillion hours apparently, and I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Well, you say kabillion, but it's actually less than that. I was struck that people like Andrew Reiner in his review at Game Informer, he said that the critical path is 15 to 20 hours long. I was like, what? I can finish that. That's amazing. But obviously, side content is going to be the star of the show there.
This is true. I always wonder if you just not Persona 5 Royal, because I played that this year. That there was no streamlining that game in any way at all. But the common thing the only thing I was truly worried about is the city cool? Is it fun to explore? And the resounding answer seems to be yes.
Yeah, there we go. Done
deal. I don't know if this will be technically the first next gen experience that we'll have in terms of what games could and can be. Obviously, this was developed for PS4, Xbox One, and all that good stuff. But it seems we are heading in an interesting direction. And I will say kudos to CD Projekt Red because this hype was unreal. It became a beast of within itself, whether for good or bad reasons. Mm-hmm. And it seems to have lived up to that for the most part, based off what people are saying. Yeah. I'm not hearing that, it's going to change gaming forever. Right. But I am definitely all the points it was supposed to hit, it seems to be hitting. And I think that's cause for excitement. because I will say this, and people do not hate me. I did not like Ghost of Tsushima as much as I wanted to, and I don't know why. I'm not saying it's not great.
Here's the thing, Adele.
All right.
You don't need to say it. You don't need to volunteer it on your podcast. You don't need to swerve out of your way to say what you didn't like. That's a little pro tip. It's fine to just let it go. If there are plenty of games I didn't like, I'm not talking about it.
All right.
You're just gonna enrage people.
Don't want to enrage no one.
Okay, speaking of enraged? I don't know. I have talked to several people that are in the know in the gaming landscape, smart folks, and when I mention, well, basically what they say is, "Oh, I can't wait to really dive into my next PlayStation 5 game, Cyberpunk." And I'm always like, "No. That's not releasing on PlayStation 5. That's not going to be next gen." But I think so many people have purchased an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, and they're expecting this big next-gen experience from Cyberpunk. Because when you think next-gen, you think Cyberpunk. But the fact that it's not actually releasing on those platforms and you'll be playing the PS4 and Xbox One version, I think a lot of people don't know. And so I tweeted it out from the MinnMax Twitter account. I said, did you know that Cyberpunk 2077 isn't releasing on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X this week? 70% said, yeah, of course I know that. 30% either just learned that or they said, wait, what? 20% did not know that from followers of the MinnMax Twitter account, which is a hardcore gaming group. Like, I think there are going to be a lot of people in the general population that are going to be stunned that this is not releasing for actual next-gen consoles yet.
Oh no, I had a friend of mine tell me that he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy the PlayStation 4 copy, but when are they gonna release the upgrade to the PS5 version? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, they say it will come like arbitrarily in the future, but as of right now, I'm pretty sure you'll beat the game, fully beat the game, do everything you want to do before said upgrade or release. And they're like, but I thought it was dual releasing, like, Colin's like, no, it's just the PS4 version.
Yeah. I bet a lot of people are going to buy this game, and if they could invite friends over, I guess, this is a hypothetical fantasy world, they'd bring their friend over and be like, look at this next-gen PlayStation 5 game, and they're going to be running the PS4 version. I think a lot of people will be stupid like that and try and convince themselves that this PlayStation 4 game looks next-gen.
Honestly, I don't think I can really blame them, though. It's just a common misconception that I don't, like, you went and, and let people know, but I don't think a lot of people are just correcting people on that. It's people, they'll buy the copy, they'll put it in their console, it'll work. And then, like you said, they'll be like, well, it's in my PS5. I have a PS5 controller. There we go. I am playing the PS5 version of Cyberpunk, which, correct me if I'm wrong. Are there even going to be any improvements if you play it on the PS5 or Xbox One? Is it going to have
it's going to like load a little bit faster naturally. And I think there's going to be some minor stuff, but not ray tracing and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let people have their holiday. Fun fact, I ran into one person, not joking, that literally was like, I got the new Xbox. It wasn't that hard. And I was like, oh, congratulations. They're like, yeah, here's my Xbox One. And I was like, that's not the new Xbox. And they were like, yeah, this is like the new Xbox. And it was like the newest Xbox One, whatever, the last one that released, the One X.
Right.
And then, and I was like, yes, it's the Series X is the one you're supposed to get.
Oh, no.
And they were like, no, this is the new Xbox. And I was like, here's a picture. And they're like, oh, is that like the side model, like, the adjacent? I'm like, no, that's the S, which looks completely different, like this little stovetop thing.
Oh my God.
And then they were like, oh, okay, that's the stovetop. I have the middle one. And then there's the series. I'm like, no. It's you remember that whole fiasco with the Wii and the Wii U? It was it was that all over again.
Oh my God, what a mess.
And it started to get a little dicey, let's say, the conversation. And I was like, you know what? You enjoy your One X. Happy holidays. I hope your child does not cry.
Yeah.
These naming conventions, they're fun. They are fun.
Everyone's having a good time.
Everyone's having a good time. Are you jumping into night, or have you already jumped into Night City?
No, I didn't get a code for it. We're doing the deepest dive on Cyberpunk, which is our community game club. So saving it for, I don't have a copy, but saving it for when we can jump in with the rest of the community. So we're talking about the game in a very thorough, in-depth way, and we're gonna have our first discussion all about Act 1 in the game going up next week.
All right, fun. Do you look forward to giving your character genitalia?
Honestly, people have been talking a lot about this. I haven't really been following it too much. So there's a dong slider. Is that
Yes,
the
that
thing?
there. For girth and size. Your girth, your length. Apparently, you could have more than one. I don't know if that's
That's true.
true. Oh, that's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's you. There's actually a function for pubic hair. How much, or how little.
Really? That's cool.
The style of it.
Yeah, I would love to see, forget like total hours played and bullets fired. I want to see, with the average penis length in Cyberpunk 2077. Because how many people are sliding it to the far left is all I know.
How many gamers are honest with themselves?
Exactly. I'm playing it in a very in-depth, real way.
I'm curious to see, for our population that identifies as a male, but maybe not been assigned that at birth, what their ideal penis size would be. I'm curious to ask them, like, here's a chance to customize it. Like, where are we going with this?
Right.
It's like you at that point, you don't have to be. You're not limited to maybe natural birth genitalia. You can just be like, this is where I would like it to be. I'm curious.
Yeah. Who knows?
At first I thought it was silly. I'm not gonna lie. And then I was like, you know what? This is the power of games. Because if you're gonna give the ability to customize a character, what other, tabletop lets you do it in other forms of gaming and media, but what other media can let you get to this great of detail, if not video games?
You're right. It is the greatest medium. Roger Ebert, rest in hell. I don't know.
Did he truly really hate video games to the day he died? No, I've always heard that.
I'm sure he barely cared.
Yeah, okay. Like, I don't know if it was like a one-time quote, but like that's always been something that's been like drilled into me. Like, I have people who find out like I try to do the game thing. They're like, well, what do you think about Roger Ebert? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never actually read a movie review from him.
You talk to sounds dumb.
That I went to public school, and I'm just gonna.
Hey, I also went to public school. I assume we all did. Everyone's lovely there.
I'm over here by the Bible Belt. I'll let you formulate your own opinions about that.
All right. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm angry at Roger Ebert because we just did the deepest dive on The Thing, the film
about the blob monster.
Yeah, he's blobby at times if he wants to be. The Thing is what he wants to be. But we covered every piece of media for The Thing. Every comic book, every book, short story, all the films. Technically 3, although kind of 3.5. It's confusing. But Roger Ebert's original review of The Thing, which is one of the greatest films of all time, 1982 horror film, he gave it like 2 stars. And it's the most meh review. He says that the movie didn't need to exist. It's just It made me angry at him all over again. So forget video games.
Oh, okay. All right. We just have opinions on him. I thought we weren't supposed to talk about things we don't like.
Yeah, you're right. All right, steering away. Hey, I've been thinking more about these snakes.
Okay. All right. You know what? This is why we're called Full Circle. Let's circle back to that. What about these snakes?
I think we're barking up the wrong tree by thinking, are they identical twins or fraternal twins? It's irrelevant. Twins is like in quotes. Twin snakes with the twins part should have been in quotes because they're just clones, So if they're both clones of the same person, they're going to look identical. It's very clear, but they're not actually twins.
Okay, well, the science of it. If a clone, like a child, is technically a clone of you. It's your DNA.
No, correct.
No, that is. Okay, because they're clones in the sense that they got the same father's DNA and they were birthed by the same woman. I mean,
no. They're genetically engineered clones, and then they're put in the big old Ava womb.
Then why did Solidus age old first, and why is Liquid?
I don't understand Solidus. I'm not
Okay.
saying I understand Solidus. I'm just saying they are clearly identical. Their faces are, at least. And then the
Okay.
recessive genes. We all remember his great speech.
Yes, I mean, but I wonder would that change your appearance because one got all the dominant and then one all got all the recessive.
But I think that's it's as far as I understand it, dominant and recessive. That's just for like hair color, eye color. It's not for long nose, short nose. I don't think.
I mean, no, I'm pretty sure it. Okay, first of all, we're talking about crackpot science that doesn't exist. We know that, people. But with that said, no, I believe if one person has all dominant and recessive, like intentionally, there's going to be, because dominant and recessive controls like if your earlobe is attached to your side of your face or not.
Yeah, so maybe their ears look different, but that's it. That's the only difference going on here. This is so stupid. I'm sure any biologist or geneticist listening to this is driving their car into oncoming traffic.
They're gonna be like, you know what? I need to go play these games. Well, I mean,
yeah, Odell. No, see, I'm googling it. Yeah, turns out I'm right. Here we go. Here's something helpful, actually. So dominant versus recessive. Here are the things that can change. You can have curly hair versus smooth hair.
Okay. Have different hair.
Wide or narrow eyes. That's confusing. Dimples are flawed or recessive. Freckles, tongue, and the ability to roll your tongue. Well, we all know that Liquid can roll his tongue. He's a cool Lothario. Earlobes and eye color.
Okay. All right. So I got the earlobes.
The you got.
Okay. Well, let's say he has different hair. His earlobes are probably attached or detached. They have different eye shape. I feel this is enough facial deconstruction to look similar, but
ears aren't a relevant part of the face. That's like,
okay. Eyes are a big kicker.
Face feature.
Different eyes will make you look different instantly.
Yeah, but they have identical eyes. First of all, in the PS1, they certainly have identical eyes because it's just like a Brock slit, right? So, official terminology is a Brock slit. I believe. Again, please write in to the show. Let us know. What's the email address, Adele?
It's fcpodcast23@gmail.
There we go. Perfect.
But okay. People understand you can be twins and not identical. Like you have boy-girl twins. Yeah. You by default don't look alike.
They're not twins. They're clones.
They're clone twins. The true definition of twin means you were just born at the same time, right? That's all the term twin means.
No. It's about when the cell divides or something. It's something about the cell.
Wait, well, first of all, let's back up even further because they're triplets.
Well, technically they're octuplets, and they killed off all the other, children except for these two, and then I guess kind of three.
So
I need to play Metal Gear Solid 2 again.
God, man, I do too. Like
I'm too hazy on these Solidus details, and he's my boy. Like, you remember how funny it is in Metal Gear Solid 4 when he's like in that I want to call it straitjacket, the body bag, and he's like like in Prague. He just like
because you were made to think that was Big Boss, but it actually was Solid because Big Boss was alive.
That's right.
Somewhere, and
he said, I must live on to have the most boring conversation known to man. Yeah, 0 must be better than 1.
You know what? Just blew my mind that 0. Not only was 0's a satellite. I'm just like, you just had an old decrepit man orbiting the Earth for just years, and somehow he was able to go up into space and retrieve him just to wheel him up. And just like give him like the most saddest old man death I've ever seen in a video game.
It's so that series is good because we're like, 12 years after Metal Gear Solid 4. Is that right? 2008? Is that when that came out?
I believe it came out in 2008. That sounds right.
Okay. Yeah. But it's 12 years later and we're still like processing this, and there's still conversations about like, what the hell was going on there? Every entry, it's amazing that we're not sick as an industry of the Metal Gear Solid is kind of dumb, right? Like those conversations. I mean, dumb in the most affectionate way possible. I love it dearly, but it's like calling your child dumb, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean because Andy forever hates Metal Gear Solid 3, one of the best video games ever made, and I'm just
He's
like,
insane.
how could you? You're
He
like
hasn't finished it.
you're like one of the greatest of the greats, and yet you hate this amazing, polished, well voice acted, written, crazy electric bad guy of a game.
Uh-huh.
And
Hey, you know what? It's almost like a GameSpot review. People can have individual tastes, and you can't force them to change it.
you know what, you were right. You were right. You know, I really, man, I am just like, I'm gonna have you back at a future point. It's gonna be like, hey, we're both gonna figure solid 1, 2, 1 and 2. We're gonna reconvene. We're gonna share notes, and we're gonna
Yeah.
bring the truth to the people. I'm gonna like find a geneticist, have them on the show.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Explain to me the truest, purest definition of twin, or clones, twins, or twins, clones of themselves.
We won't even need this because the proof will be in the pudding when Oscar Isaac plays Liquid Snake, and then you will say, "Oh my gosh, Ben Hansen was right."
All right, and if he doesn't,
if he doesn't, then you win.
If he doesn't, you're buying my movie ticket, and if it's streaming, then well, I'll just take the bragging rights because
I'll pay for your HBO Max subscription or whatever.
All right, but you know, we have went in the weeds on Metal Gear Solid, which I mean, I guess that's what the game intends for you to do. Honestly, it's still haunting us all these years. It is the pain. No, not the pain. It is the sorrow.
That's right.
The pain blew up into a million bees, which was kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah. Who has your favorite voice of God? What is that crew called? How am I forgetting this?
The Cobra unit?
Yes, the Cobra unit.
Okay, just the boss, of course. Just like it's the easy one.
Yeah,
like I love her.
But in terms of like announcing their name and because the fear is tough to beat. Fear.
Okay. No, I will say this because I will never forget this. I was spending the summer at my grandma's house, who lives in the country. My only entertainment was my PlayStation 2, and for some reason, I never found the sniper rifle. Like I literally had to backtrack in the game because I made it to the end and could not beat him. I looked up in my guide, my tips and tricks or whatever I was reading at the time. It was like, you don't need the sniper rifle. If you do, it will automatically appear here if you missed it along the way. It was not in the little shack. I swear to you, I don't know what happened to my game. And I was like, all right, I'll just sneak up on him and, do it that way. And I died so many times. I had nightmares of this is the end.
And him going, you call yourself the son of the boss? You call yourself the son of the boss? Isn't that him that says that 1,000 times?
It probably. And then I remember I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to backtrack to the beginning of the game because that's where the sniper was damn near the beginning. So I literally backtracked. Alerted. My alert count went from like 10 to like 200, and then I ran back to fight him. So the end by default for great reasons, just great haunting. Getting sniped. It's impossible to sneak up on him. I know you can sneak up on him, hold him up, and do that. I did it once, like maybe once the entire onslaught of boss battles. But yes, I will go with the end just because I heard it so much in my nightmares.
Well, there we go.
Well, Hanson, I want to thank you so much for joining me, giving me some lessons, taking this wild ride down this thing we call video games. And real quick again, where can people find you? Where can they see your content, at you about all your awesome opinions?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Yozetty, YOZETTY, or you can check out the MinnMax Show podcast. That's MINNMAX, MinnMax Show podcast. It's kind of the central hub for all of our content, but there's a lot that we're cranking out every week.
Like that new music podcast, which is great. That was fun. Yeah. Shout out to Helgeson again. And always, if you love the Full Circle Podcast, you can follow me, Odo Harmon Jr. at Odo Harmon Jr. or the show itself at FC Podcast 23. And if you really, really love it, there's a Patreon you should subscribe to, like Gabriel Garcia, Bake, Rice, and Ryan Frazier. But remember, people, hitting that like, share, subscribe is free. So go ahead and do it right now. And as always, thank you for joining us and be blessed.